traffic usually in Ho Chi Minh City. So we thought we should not make people to lose the important issue today. Good evening once again, and I welcome you all on behalf of Singapore Business Group in Ho Chi Minh City. Thanks for our co-host, the Australian Chamber of Commerce, European Chamber of Commerce, the British Business Group, CEO Club, the Council of Taiwanese Chamber, the Dutch Business Group, the European Chamber of Commerce, the French Chamber of Commerce, Ho Chi Minh City Association of Women Executive Entrepreneurs, the Hong Kong Business Association of Vietnam, the Ho Chi Minh City Union of Friendship Organization, the Malaysian Business Chamber, the Thai Business Chamber, and the Indian Business Chamber. Today we have a guest speaker, Dr. Thảo Nghi. She is, I just give you some information about her. She is basically from the Singapore-Việt Nam Cancer Center. She graduated from the Pham University of Medicine, Ho Chi Minh City. Dr. Thảo Nghi is a cancer specialist who has received extensive overseas training in France, Japan, and Malaysia. Prior to joining Vietnam, integrated medical service as a medical and radiation oncologist in the Singapore-Vietnam Cancer Center. Dr. Nghi also worked in Eugene Marquis Cancer Center in France, FV Hospital, and Chorai Hospital in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Today's program is very simple. We are going to have we'll be inviting Dr. Nghi to first give her presentation, and after her presentation, we will have a Q&A, and later on, we do have lucky draw. So I now request Dr. Nghi to please come over to the stage and give her presentation. I request everyone to give a good welcome, please.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, the SVCC, for inviting me once again and giving me a chance to present with you about one of the most popular type of cancer, especially in the female. And thank you all for put the time to come here. So please, I will present in English. As the MC was said, then after my presentation, we will have a Q&A part. But please feel free to stop me anytime at any slide if you have a question. So as the pointer is little in the right flow direction, so please feel free to repeat here. The first questions everybody will ask, what is a cancer? Actually, our body is made by a lot of cells, and each organ is made by a specialized cell. There is a cell which will be made when we were a baby, but then it developed and then it stopped there. It just makes the function. But such as the heart cell, such as the brain cell, but there are the cells of the organ that can be died and changed after a few times, such as the hair, the blood cell, which can be died after 30 to 19 days and replaced by a new one. But every system of this cell is in a normal way. When we have an abnormal, such as when we have the loss of normal growth control of the cell in any part of the body, we can get, for example, the cell doesn't have a normal cell division, or when this is damaged, this is not repaired, they don't have the cell decided apoptosis. At that moment, we can have the malignant cell. And a lot of malignant cell, time by time, it can make a tumor, which is called a malignant tumor or a cancer. Is this below image? You can see the first mutation, and then it cannot give a normal mutation as the mother and father cell. It can create the second mutation with a lot of difference from the first one and from the mother cell. And when it creates the third or the fourth or the later mutation, there will be an uncontrolled growth of the cellule and make a tumor. So how the cancer starts and develop? Actually, all the normal cells, as I explained, they have a normal range, a normal size, a normal shape, with a boundary, a limit, with the blood, such as the lymph vessel and the blood vessel in the body. In our body, the blood vessel is ordered to distribute the blood to nourish the cell, and then take back the not good blood in order to turn back to the heart for the circulation. And we have another system of vessel which is called lymph vessel. When we have inflammation or an abnormal organ attack our body, normally our body we have a system in order to defend this attack, and this we call the lymph vessel. When we have sinusite or when the women in the period, you can have some normal lymph node in the internal part. That is absolutely normal. And when the cancer begin to get abnormal, about the shape, the size, or the content inside, and then we have the abnormal cell, and then this abnormal will develop in the same place, but still do not pass the boundary limit. We have the cancer in situ, or the first very early stage of the cancer, which also called this is the very closest limit between the benign cell and the cancer cell. But when the cell pass over the boundary and attack the lymph node, lymph vessel or blood vessel, this is the moment with the angiogenesis. It means that the cell needs to be nourished by the blood too, but these bloods develop in an abnormal way, and it can pass to over body and pass over the limit of the organ. This is the Singapore Cancer Registry. About January registry report the trend of cancer incident in Singapore from 2006 to 2010. You can see that in female, the most important incidence to cancer is the breast and then colorectal. In males, the first one is the colorectal, second is lung, and the third one is the prostate. So the breast cancer actually is a cancer of the breast, which is very most common cancer in human. 1 in 8 human will develop breast cancer in whole their lifetime, and this incidence increase with age. For example, when from the age 20 to 29, the incidence is very low, only 1 in 2,000. But when we reach the age of 14 to 49, the incidence will increase highly, 1 in 68. And in age 60 to 69, the incidence is only a half, 1 in 36. So the risk factor of, until now we cannot define the main one reason of the breast cancer. But luckily that we can define which is the risk factor in order to avoid. Of course, the first one is the female. It means that male is not attacked by the breast cancer. The incidence of the male which can get the breast cancer is 0.1 to 0.3% in their whole lifetime. And as I said that the breast cancer increases with age. So when we reach the age more than 50, we can have a higher incidence to have a breast cancer. The lifestyle change, such as we move on for working, for outside work, we keep to go in on our career, we eat more meat, we do less exercise, etc. So we can get For example, even the oral contraception. We want to delay the childbearing or lack of childbearing, even breastfeeding in order to keep the physical body, etc. And the hormone replacement treatment is oral contraception. Even the patch for contraception is the same one. It means that we play with the hormonal substance in our body. And we noted about the family history, especially some genetic change. It means that when the female in the family, in the maternal side, if we have our mother, our aunt, our sister in the mother side, which would have breast cancer or ovarian cancer or a colon cancer, it means that we can have a higher incidence to have this cancer than the other people. And we noted that due to, we call the BRCA. There is a mutation in the gene which makes this female can get easily attacked by breast cancer than the one who doesn't have this gene. In order to define the stage of the disease, then can choose the good treatment, the suitable treatment, as well as to have a good control and follow-up. We define breast cancer into at least 3 stages. The 0 stage, that is the cancer in situ. It means that we just find very early the abnormal change we call the dysplasia, or the very first early step of the abnormal cell. So the tumor have only in the local, the breast, even this is not the real cancer. This is just the closest limit to the real cancer. We call TIS, it means that in situ. So with this stage, we have 100% survival rate. If we treat the patient, they can live, no wonder, no worry about the recurrence or the metastasis. But when we reach the tumor more than 2 inches across, or there is the spread to the axillary lymph node, or there is a change of the kin or rubber nipple, the patient reach the 3rd stage. And we can see that the survival rate changed rapidly from 100% to only 52%. And when this cancer spread to the other organs of the body, such as the brain, the bone, the lungs, the liver, etc., this is only 16% survival rate. So what we want to do for all, we want you, if in case, of course we cannot choose, we can make our choice or our decision, but please help us to detect your abnormal cell or your cancer in the very, very early stage. Until the stage 1 or stage 2, even that the lesion is from 1 to 2 inches, but only the axillary lymph node is touched, we still can get the 88% survival rate to 98% survival rate. These are the 4 sites of our body which the breast cancer are willing to spread over, such as I presented, the brain, the bones, the lungs, and the liver. Even though these worries, but luckily that around 20% of the breast cancer is still preventable, very easily by the education and by screening. For prevention, the first one is the one that we need to do by ourselves. Please choose a healthy lifestyle, do more exercise, especially at least 30 minutes per day. You can have jogging, you can have swimming, you can do yoga, everything, in order to have not only your breast, but your lungs, your liver, to have a detox, a good detoxification. And one more thing is to have a reasonable portion of fruit and vegetable in your meals. Very easy. You can choose, you need to have the protein or protein, and then close it, and then we call fruit and vegetable. Please make a ratio 1, 1, and 2. Make sure that you have at least the fruit and the vegetable double or triple than the meat and the rice or noodle that you take every day. So please note some symptoms and signs to be followed up if you have it, and go to see your GP or your gynae doctor, especially when you found out a lump in your breast. This can be, you don't need to go every month to see your GP or gynae doctor. Later on, I will present to you how to make the breast self-exam at home. Or when you see there is a skin dimple, or the change of the skin or color texture. Actually, when we have the lump, when we can self-find the lump, normally this is a very early stage. But when you have the skin dumpling, change the skin color or texture, or even there is a change in how the nipple look, or there is a discharge of the nipple, probably that is a clear, even a bloody. We don't prefer to see you in this stage because normally there's always an invasion, a local invasion to the rest part of the breast. For the screening, just remember very easy tip. Do the mammography if you are over 40 years old. You do the first one. If the result is normal, your doctor can advise you to repeat every 2 to 3 years. Or if we have some suspicion on the mammo, we can decide to do biopsy or needle aspiration of the suspicious tumor. And you can have, for the women under 40, you can have the breast ultrasound. Every year, every 2 years, depends on the result. Or in some special case, nowadays there are lots of women prefer to have a breast prosthesis for the cosmetic reason, etc. So in that case, we can use the breast implant in order to protect, to avoid the rupture of the breast prosthesis. And please, if you have a strong family history or risk factor as I presented, please go to do your mammo earlier, younger. What is mammography? For the breast ultrasound, you already know what it is. One of you, at least one in a lifetime, do ultrasound, abdomen ultrasound, breast ultrasound, neck ultrasound, etc. But for the mammo, actually this is an X-ray of the breast. The breast will be pulled down, the whole tissue of the breast will be pulled down by 2 plastic plaques, and then we do a chest X-ray of the whole breast in order to find the lesion that we cannot find or cannot define on ultrasound, such as the calcification or the inflammation, etc. When we have a suspicious lesion by ultrasound, by mammo, we need to, if for the breast, we have a classification from 0 to 5 for the result of mammo and ultrasound. If your result is credit a 1, 2, 3, you can be free. Look, please don't need to feel worried because that's the normal change of the breast. But when you have more than 3, the red in your ultrasound or mammo more than 3, it means that you have some suspicious lesion. We need to identify what is the nature of this lesion. At that moment, we have to take out one small part of the breast lesion. For the pathologist, the doctor will pull it on a very thin plastic lamp in order to see what is the cell inside. We call the final needle biopsy or core biopsy or excision biopsy. This is what we call a fine needle biopsy. Under the ultrasound guidance, we can use a biopsy needle to go through the skin of the breast, go directly to the suspicious tumor. And then we draw out a small part we call a sample tissue. And the pathologist doctor will analyze the tissue under the microscopic class in order to identify. The second way we can use we call a core needle biopsy. In this case, the mass is always bigger than 1 centimeter. We use a little bigger needle than the fine needle biopsy. The same way, under the ultrasound guidance, we go to the mass in the breast and we take it out. It can be done easily under local anesthesia. You will feel just a little touch when we pass through the skin of the breast, Besides that, you won't have any pain, any terrible side effects, etc. And you can go home easily 1 hour to 2 hours after this procedure. For the lesion, which there is a complex density inside, so we cannot do the core biopsy because we are not sure which part is malignant, which part probably is still benign. At that case, we need to take out all of the lesion, which equal excision biopsy. This means that we will do a bigger anesthesia, and we make a skin cut, and then we will take all the tumor out for pathology. For the breast cancer until now, this is a multidisciplinary treatment plan done by many doctors, not only the medical oncologist or the surgeon. We need to have the radiologist who help us to give the result of the ultrasound, the memo. Is that suspicious? Do we need to go further test or not? We need to have the pathologist in order to study, to analyze the cell when we took it out, when we take it out. We have the surgeon for surgery and the medical oncologist, which can help you to have a full plan of treatment until follow up the next 5 to 10 years. We must have the radiotherapist. This is a doctor who give you the radiation in case of conservative treatment of the breast, and we present later. So these all doctors will use the 5 principal treatment methods in the breast cancer endowment. We can do surgery, we can do chemotherapy, we can have radiotherapy, we can have hormonal therapy. The newest one right now at the moment is the targeted therapy. It means that we treat the targeted cancer cell with some specific identification of the cell. It helps us to identify clearly between the normal cell and the cancer cell. And the immunotherapy is one method which is still ongoing for study. We are not sure if this method can be applied for whole kind of breast cancer or only some special kind. This is what goes on with the breast cancer surgery. In the years of 1950, we have a radical mastectomy. It means that at that moment we don't know if the chemotherapy can help us to make the tumor smaller, if the irradiation or radiotherapy can help us to control the breast risk of the tumor spreading after taking the tumor out. So you can see that the surgery is very terrible. The surgeon needs to take all out the part of the breast, cannot keep anything. So they will have to remove all of the axillary lymph nodes, which can give the patient the edema of the bra after the treatment. So in the years 2000, we have a conservative treatment. It means that we can take out only the tumor or a part of the breast which has the tumor, and then we can apply the other treatment by chemo before the surgery or chemo after surgery, and with irradiation in order to give local control to the whole breast. And very especially, we have the sentinel lymph node, which can help us to avoid the case to remove all the axillary lymph nodes in order to avoid the edema of the bra. So you can see that there is only a very small scar on the breast, and the patient still have the whole breast. In some cases, we have to do the mastectomy. It means we have to remove all out of the breast. For some patients, they have 2 sides of the breast cancer. We have no choice. We have to do mastectomy. But we can do the reconstruction immediately after the mastectomy or in the second time after the adjuvant treatment. And this reconstruction we can do by ourselves, muscle in the back or the fat in your abdomen. Or we can put a small prosthesis if the size is not equivalent. This is the image of the edema of the axillary lymph node dissection. As I explained to you, the lymph node system is just like the evacuation in the city. So when we have inflammation, when we have abnormal attack, This system will help us to reduce this. But with the surgery, when we remove, for breast cancer, when we remove all the axillary lymph node, we don't have anymore this system. So we can have easily the edema of the bra. You can see that the bra on the breast cancer side can be easily get bigger than the other side. If you take the heavy object, more than 5 kilo, or if you forget and you go to a health checkup and the nurse check the blood withdraw on the same side of the breast cancer where you treated, where the axillary lymph nodes are all removed. Or even you get bite by a mosquito or some infectious disease, it can have very easily bra edema. This is an image which want to explain you what is the sentinel lymph node evaluation. There is many clinical and medical research to show that when we have a breast tumor, normally the tumor develops in local site and then it can give the risk to attack the lymph node system around the breast until the axillary part. So before this technique, when we find out a tumor, when we remove the tumor out of the breast, we systematically remove out all of the same size axillary lymph node. And this gave every patient, all patients have the pridema. This technique helps us, we can inject a radioactive substance or dye into the tumor, and we follow up the way this color go from the tumor to the first step, the very closest step of the node next to the tumor. If we found that, we will remove the tumor out and we remove also the sentinel node in order to have an immediate lymph node evaluation by pathologists in the operation room during the time you are still on the operation table. If these lymph nodes are positive, we call, or you call away all the result, you can see doctor say your lymph node is positive, lymph node negative. Positive here is mean that the lymph node is attacked by the cancer cell. In that case, we have to continue to remove all the next axillary lymph node stage. But if the sentinel lymph node is not attacked by the cancer cell, it means that this is negative. The surgeon can stop, do not need to remove all the axillary lymph node. They just easily continue to take the part around the breast cancer tumor in order to have a free margin of the cancer tumor around the breast. Radiotherapy is one method. We use also the X-ray. Nowadays we use radiotherapy without the source. If 30 years or 40 years ago all over the world, we still have the cobalt source for irradiation, which is very harmful to the patient themselves, to the relative, and to the environment. But now we have the new system we call accelerator linear, which doesn't need the source anymore. We can have a direct effect of trace X-ray to the metallic part inside the machine, and we can have the transparent light in order to help the reduce the tumor, to protect the rest part of the breast after removal of the tumor. When all the people talk about cancer, the most one they are afraid of is chemotherapy. Until now, we still remember in our mother time or my grandmother time, when we talk about chemotherapy, it means something can kill you easily, very terrible side effect. The patient wish that they can die instead of having chemotherapy treatment. So what is chemotherapy? Actually, chemotherapy is the chemo drugs we use in order to have the stop the dividing cells of the cancer and causing the cancer cell death in order to exclude the damaged cell of the cancer and turn back to the healthy cell remain. So the chemotherapy can go directly to the blood vessel in the body in order to prevent all the part metastasis from the breast cancer, or can stop the cell division, or can stop the replication process of the cancer cell, can give can push the cancer cell to must follow up the spontaneous cell death policy procedure of the body, or can create a non-divided cell. The most one subject of the chemo in order want to make smaller, the tumor gets smaller, and to make lower the risk of recurrence and metastasis in the body. So that's why I explained that the chemo drug give an important side effect to the whole body, except include the hair, the liver, the lung, the blood cell, your nails, etc. And one more thing that we are afraid of after the chemo, which we do by the peripheral vein on our arms, we can get easily terrible vein that make the vein get darker and very fragile, more fragile than normal. After the finish of chemo, you can do the blood test on the vessel you had the chemo, but when you put the needle inside, they can be ruptured very easily and give a big inflammation, a darkened part of the part. Even can give a necrosis of this part. So now we move on for the advanced technique. We don't do much more by the peripheral vein on the part. We prefer to use the central venous part. It means that there will be a tube, very thin tube, just like about 1 to 3 millimeters. We put inside, pass through the subclavicular vein, go to the upper part of the heart, and we can have a half-closed system. It means that you can have a part, acid side out of the skin with the catheter tail, and this is the cap where we can punch, we can link with the infusion for chemo. Or we can have a total closed system of the central venous part. It means that there is still always the part of the vein entry to the upper part of the heart, but the port is meant that the other end of the catheter will put under the skin, beneath of the skin. So we can put on our shirt, even we can put on our swim coat, no problem. Nobody knows that we have this instrument. Such a the image I saw next. If I don't point, you cannot know what it is. Actually, is it? You see, it is smaller. Yeah. And when you come for the chemo, we can put the needle inside. When you finish, we remove the needle out. This is what we use when the patient comes in. We put the needle inside with the catheter external in order to pass the chemo drugs. The questions of as title of the presentation, are all women and men affected by the breast cancer? Medically, yes. As I said, 0.1 to 0.3% of the men can be attacked by the breast cancer. And also, you are attacked also by the breast cancer when your beloved one get the breast cancer, especially get the breast cancer treatment. Their whole life changed, and your life changed too. Any behavior in your lifestyle have to change to adapt with the patient for treatment. You have to arrange your work to come to support them for treatment. You have to encourage them for the side effect of treatment. One of the most important side effects is the cosmetic image, the body image of your beloved one. In order to support for the patient, nowadays we say that the post-op care, the product we make in order to help the female patient feel easily adapt with the change of their body after the treatment of breast cancer. Such as we have the mastectomy probe. This is not only for cosmetic reason, but it's still for the physical reason, because the breast tissue in the human is thick. So if we remove the breast or 1/2 of the breast, we call the balance between two parts is not the same. So they can have the abnormal standing, or they can have abnormal change of the column vertebra. So we need to keep this balance to the patient. So we can have the sharper for lumpectomy. When we have a lumpectomy, it means that we remove our tumor and one small part of the breast. Normally, this is less than 1.5 of the breast. In that case, we don't need to use the mastectomy part, but we can use a sharper for lumpectomy, medical silicone prosthesis in order to just to supply the removal part of the breast. One of the most terrible side effects all women are afraid of is the hair loss after the chemo. And unluckily, almost all the breast cancer chemotherapy drugs give the hair loss, except the targeted therapies, as I told earlier. The targeted therapy is means that the drugs who will attack the breast cancer cell with a very specific factor which called HER2, HER2, because it attacks typically the specific cell. So it doesn't attack the blood cell, it doesn't attack the hair cell. So the patient won't have hair loss, neither the cell blood reduced. But all of the other chemo drugs for breast cancer can give the hair loss. So we can help the patient with the headgear or the real hair wigs and the chemo shampoo. During the chemotherapy, you can use the same shampoo, the same body lotion as before. You need to adapt this product. Or in the case that we have the sentinel lymph node positive, which is attacked by the cancer cell, we have to remove all of the axillary lymph node system. And in order to help the patient to avoid the edema of the brow, we have the compression sleeve. The patient can put on at least 3 hours per day. They have the physiotherapy, which the doctor will explain to them how to do themselves 2 or 3 times per day, and put on the compression sleeve. About the systemic treatment, it means that depends on the result of the breast cancer cell. If the cell tumor have the hormonal receptor, it means that the tumor are sensible to the hormonal treatment. In this case, after the surgery and chemo and radiation, we will give the patient the hormonal treatment for 5 years. And nowadays, they just published on, I remember, 10,000 patients over the world to prove that we can prolong the time using hormonal treatment instead of 5 to 8 years in order to have a longer control of the disease. Or in some cases, we can supply the bone-directed therapy as the calcium biphosphonate in order to help the patient to get a good control even of the breast tumor cancer, or to avoid the side effect of the bone and to avoid the bone metastasis of the breast cancer. This is the photo I want to present to you more clearly about the targeted cancer therapy. When we have a tumor and we define this is a cancer, it means that we justify this is an abnormal malignant cell which causes the cancer. But we cannot identify, are they in the same group? Are they very easily, are they in the same color? And the chemo will attack all the color of the cell, even the normal cell. So that's why the side effect of the chemo is much more important than the targeted therapy. But with the targeted therapy, we can identify some specific factor of the cancer cell in the different, very easily understand, in the different color. And each different color cancer cell in the tumor can be treated by the different drugs. So we call this the targeted cancer therapy. This is the same method not only for the breast cancer, but nowadays we apply for the lung cancer, for the colon cancer. So that's why we don't have the same treatment regime or drugs for all patients. We tailor each patient different treatment stage, different drugs. With this photo, actually after my presentation, you can know that nowadays we don't say that breast cancer only affects the women. That's wrong. All the men, all the women, all the body, all the people in the family will be affected by the breast cancer, medically and physically. About 20 years ago, there is a very typical modern approach to the cancer. We said that we have cancer, we use medicine, we use a treatment method, etc. But we forgot two important factors. That is, the patient, if they can get a suitable adaptation of their lifestyle during the treatment, after the treatment, and if they can have a good mindset in order to debate the cancer, to keep going on, moving on with the treatment and moving on later on for their lifestyle. So the new three-pronged hypno-chemo approach with the mindset of patient is set as the basic factor in order to help the cancer treatment have a good effect. So the same, if you say that the cancer is a very surely death factor, you can give up. You give up, and when you give up, you don't feel the emotion, you don't feel the motivation, you don't feel the necessity to fight against breast cancer. Now, not only the cancer which is a very dangerous disease. With the change of the lifestyle, you can have the high blood pressure, you can have the diabetes disease, you can have the chronic kidney disease due to the high blood pressure and diabetes. The three diseases can be nowadays judged as a lifestyle treatment risk. For example, at the man for some prostate cancer, if the patient are over 70 years old, they have many severe medical other medical disease factors, such as they have the high blood pressure with the heart insufficient in the possibility in the character, or they have already stroke, which have hemiplegia. Sometimes we decide, if the prostate cancer in the early stage, we decide to do nothing with the patient, because the patient can have a high risk of death due to other medical disease than the prostate cancer. So nowadays we don't see anymore the cancer is very much more harmful disease than the other medical disease. So if we have a good mindset, and we said that we need to fight the cancer, we need to move on, we need to keep on hope. So you are more positive to upfront with the treatment, with the side effect. This is a clip as I presented. I will show you how to do the breast cell exam at home. Các bạn nào đi tiếp thì
Did you know breast cancer is the most common cancer among Singaporean women? All women are at risk of getting breast cancer, and the chances of developing it increases with age. But we also know that early detection can save lives. Empower yourself and the women you love with the gift of early detection. Here's how to do it. Here's how you can conduct breast self-examination, or BSE in short. If you're menstruating, do the BSE 7 to 10 days after the start of your menstruation. It's simple. Just give your breast some TLC. Touch, look, check. Begin by lying on your back. Place your right hand behind your head. With the pads of the middle index and ring fingers of your left hand, gently yet firmly press down using small motions to examine the entire right breast. Use any of the following patterns you're most comfortable with to ensure you've covered all of the breast tissue. Next, sit or stand and feel your armpit because breast tissue extends to that area. Gently squeeze the nipple, checking for discharge. Repeat the process on the left breast. Now, stand in front of the mirror with your arms by your side. Look at your breasts directly and in the mirror. Look out for the signs of breast cancers, which include 1. A painless lump in the breast or armpit. 2. Rashes around the nipple. 3. Discharge from the nipple. 4. Changes in the skin over the breast or nipple. 5. Retraction or pulling in of the nipple. Also note the shape and the outline of each breast. Check to see if the nipple turns inward. Do the same with your arms raised above your head. If you find changes or anything new in consecutive self-examinations, highlight it to your healthcare provider right away. They will then advise you of the next steps forward. Breast self-examination, just 15 minutes each month, can save lives and breasts. Be proactive about your health. BSE should always be coupled with regular mammogram screening for your age group. Help spread the word to all women you love. Encourage and remind them to take precautions suitable for their age. For more information about BSE, log on to www.bcf.org.sg.
It is actually my honor to be here with you today, because in the International Cancer Organization, we chose the month and name it as awareness month of some specialized type of cancer, such a month we call that is for the colorectal cancer month awareness. In July was the lung cancer month of awareness. And now we are in October, and October is the International Month Awareness of Breast Cancer. And just a few days ago, the 20th October is the Vietnamese Women's Day. So please pass this message to yourself. Keep this message for yourself if you are female, and pass the message to your beloved female ones. And the pink ribbon will choose the icon for the breast cancer awareness, early detection. Pass through this information to all of your beloved ones. And thank you for your attention. Today with the Q&A session.
So I request anyone who has any questions. Dr. Nghi has done excellent presentation, by the way, and very thorough presentation, which everyone I'm sure must have understood, and it's something which everybody should know about. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have a question. From your third slide, while it is the highest percentage of women getting breast cancer as you grow older, as shown in the slide, but it seems that the highest jump occurred between the age of 30 to 40. Is there a reason besides probably lifestyle for that tremendous jump, like tenfold, I think?
This is the age one.
Slide thứ 5.
Yeah, because you can see that at the age when we change from the age 39 to 40 to 49, normally that is a moment the majority of the women will keep closer to the menopause time.
No, what I mean is, for example, like between age 60 to 69, 1 in 26 will develop breast cancer.
Yeah.
But if you look at from 20 to 29, 1 in 2000, and then 30 to 39, 1 in 229, that's a huge jump.
That's That's true.
Close to
That is,
10
this is what
10
I want
times.
to explain to you. Because when the human get closer to the menopause normally, the majority of the human will have the menopause at the age of 40, 42, 41. And before that, you can see that in the age of 30 to 39, only 1 in 230. But when we go to the age of 40, 49, that is the moment when we get closer to the premenopause or menopause time. That is the time of hormonal change in the human body. So the patient can, all of the human can easily have the breast change, probably normal, but probably abnormal or malignant. So that's why for the screening, we propose all of the human more than 40 years old should go for the first mammo of their life. Before that age, they can have a breast ultrasound in order to follow up. We don't provide the mammo to all of the human under 40 years old, except if they have the family factor risk or they have the genetic risk. Besides that, we propose them to do breast ultrasound. And if on the breast ultrasound we have the highly suspicious lesion, we can provide the mammo. So that's why you can see there is a change of the incidence when the female touch the age of 40 to 49. And when the age of 30 to 39, why the incidence change instead of 1 in 2000 in age 20 to 29? Because at that age, 30 to 39, the lifestyle changed, and majority of women now, they prefer to use the hormonal oral contraception. And they want to delay their first birth childbearing, or even they refuse the breastfeeding after having a child. So this is because this is the active period of the hormonal phase in the body. So if we attack this system, this hormonal phase system, by probably the drug for contraception, delay the birth child, refuse the breastfeeding, and when we keep on a lifestyle that we work, we pay time on work for career development, but we forget about the nutrition, we forget about the exercise. So we can easily begin to have the breast malignant change at that stage.
Yeah, anyone else, please? Yeah.
I don't need to mic. Oh, maybe. Thank you.
Thank you. You were talking about the different options how you could fight the cancer. Like there were 6 ways. But in almost the last slide, you were talking about the mindset. The mindset is very important. What do you recommend a patient to do to keep up his mindset to still or like to continue fighting?
Thank you for this. This is a very interesting question. First of all, as a medical oncologist, as a doctor, the first difficult thing we have to do is to inform the result to the patient. A lot of Asian female, especially I don't know in other country probably the same, but in Vietnam a lot of family relatives always ask me to refuse to inform directly or correctly the result to the patient. They say, please hide it from my mother, don't tell her. This is necessary step to the family, but it's not the suitable or the correct one for the doctor and for the patient. Because if the patient don't have at least a little part of the reality about the disease, and then later on she can discover during the treatment that, oh, actually this is not an abnormal, this is a cancer. The patient will lose their belief in the medical team and even in their relative, the family or relative. So we can choose a very gentle, but we don't need to avoid to inform the patient, but we don't need to tell them all the thing about the side effect of the treatment, the prognosis of the disease, the survival rate they have. We need to help them to see that this is a curable disease. We said curable in the early stage, and you can fight with this disease. Please don't give up. This is a fact that you have to see, you have to front up, you cannot hide away. And more especially when the patient comes to see us in the last stage, it means that they have or the part of the body metastasis. Nowadays, the object of the cancer treatment is not only treat the cancer disease. As I say, we tailor the patient. So we treat the patient in order to keep their, how can we say, an acceptable lifestyle quality, an acceptable quality of life. Probably in the metastatic stage, we cannot say that we will cure you, but especially that we will help you. We will go through with you through this difficult period in order to help you to have acceptable, good quality of life with your family. The importance is not how long you live. The most one importance is how good you live. And with the patient, we need to be not only there in 20 years, 30 years ago, until now we still have some doctor like that. They say that, you get a cancer, you need to have chemo, you need to have surgery, you need to have that. Then the patient said, okay, I will follow you, I will pay you. Now it's not the moment. We will say that we confide that this is not a benign disease. You need to have the treatment in order to remove the tumor and then to supply the treatment in order to avoid the recurrency. Let us be one of the part of the treatment. Let us go with you through this difficult time for the treatment. Be one of a friend of the patient. And you can have, nowadays we have a lot of social association or non-profit organization organized by the patient or by the social public, etc., which help the patient to go there, to speak out what they think. Make them speak out, even make them cry out. The fact that they cry out will help them to leave, because they hide inside, you hide inside, the family hide all things inside, and one day, probably 2 weeks or 2 months later, it's plumb, everything crack. The patient will give up on the treatment. So let them explain and speak out, spread out what they feel, what they have to keep inside. At that moment, after that, please be strong. Please get up, get fighting with your disease. This is always what we always try to help the patient with that.
Thank you. Anyone else, please?
You said that it affects men as well. There's a 0.1% chance that men might have it as well. So, like, to detect, do you like raise your arm as well, like within a circular motion to detect?
Thank you for your encouragement.
Just in case, I'm just saying.
Just in case, it's very serious. Luckily that the breast cancer attack only 0.1 to 0.3% of the men in their whole lifetime to have breast cancer. And the breast of the men, due to the hormonal effect, the breast of the man is much more thinner than the fat tissue of the human breast. So you can easily, probably you don't need to do this exactly the same exact way of breast cell exam at the human. You can easily, when you compare your breast, if you feel a small lump, even this is less than 1 centimeter, or even this is 5 to 7 millimeter, you can easily feel it. So when you feel it, please don't be shy. Go to see your GP, your healthcare provider. Because the breast cancer at the man can be much more easily to find out, to treat, and a much better prognosis than the breast cancer in the women. So you can do exactly the same. But I don't think that the man need that, because the thin layer of the man breast, so even when the sitting position, you can easily touch and feel your breast. Is it clear, my question?
Yeah, it makes sense.
No, that is true.
Because men have if you work out and everything, you have chest, right? So how do you actually detect?
If you do gym or you do body exercise, you have a very muscular body and the breast you can feel a little bigger. But actually it's always symmetric in the two sides. And you cannot have a lump or a nodule much more than 5 millimeters in your breast, even you do the gym or you do the muscle exercise. So you can easily touch by 1 or 2 pat of your fingers. Okay, because this thing and also the part of the fat tissue of the breast is smaller than the human. So the region of the whole, the human, the man breast normally just around the nipple, 1 to 2 centimeters around the nipple. Not bigger as the human, which is 5 to 7 centimeters around the nipple.
One more question here. So for women, like you said, it's because of like menopause and stuff. What is the causes for guys?
Good question. We don't know. Because actually the hormonal the hormonal system of the man is different from the woman, and the percent is very low. So every number I gave you here, that is not a number that I prefer. That is a number we record time by time, decade to decade by the medical research. But for the disease such as breast cancer in men or the very rare other cancer disease, we don't have enough data in order to record which is the risk factor. So, sorry, that cannot tell you what is the risk factor of the man. But we can note some important information, such a man which was treated by irradiation, radiotherapy for breast cancer, or a thymoid tumor. They can easily have the breast cancer due to the very late side effect of the radiation. Can be 10 to 20 years later after the radiation. On the other side, we don't note about the hormonal use or the smoking men, which can give a high risk of breast cancer. So it doesn't mean that you are a man, you have a breast cancer, and it don't have the family genetic factor neither. It doesn't mean that you have a breast cancer and your son can have breast cancer. No, that is not the same.
So last question, I hope we don't have so much time. We have? We do have. Any more questions, please? Okay, so thank you very much, and thank you very much, Dr. Lee, for such a lovely presentation once again. And we have something small gift for you on behalf of the Singapore Business Chamber. Thank you very much.